Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Edu and Migration's online migration seminar. Today is our Queensland Day, and I will introduce myself again. I'm the education consultant of Edu and Migration. Today is our manager and registered migration agent team, and also the regional marketing manager, Samantha, will be presenting our online migration seminar, and also some good program, and also the scholarship information offered by Griffith University. So for today's seminar, there are two sessions. First will be Queensland State Nomination Policies presented by team. Then we will move on to our Q&A section. So to answer all your migration related questions. So feel free to ask any question, to type in the question chat box, or you can raise your hand, and we are here to answer all your questions. After the first session, we will then invite Samantha, the regional marketing manager from Griffith University, to talk about scholarship information, popular programs, and high possibility for your career pathway in the future. And also we will also have a session for the Q&A time. Before we start, I would like to check whether everyone can hear us and see our shared screen clearly. If you can hear me, you can see our screen. Please type number 1 in the chat box. So the chat box is, yeah, I can see everyone answer it. Okay, pretty good. Well done, everyone. So, okay. So we're gonna do a small quiz about Queensland to see whether everyone knows about where is regional area in Queensland, and read carefully which suburb is not regional area of Queensland. You got 10 seconds to choose one answer. Here we go. So the first one is Caboolture, second one is Townsville, third is Toowoomba, and Gold Coast. Which one is not regional area? All done? Here we go. So let's see the answer. Right, so 63% of participants chose Caboolture. That's correct, because Caboolture is not regional area of Queensland, but Gold Coast is our regional area, and same as Townsville and Toowoomba. Well done, everyone. So before we jump into the topic, if you guys have any further questions, feel free to put your question in the chat box. So then we're gonna move on to our Queensland State Nomination Policies. Welcome our manager and registered migration agent team.
Thank you, Vivian. So how's everyone? So let's get started. We have been waiting for the Queensland State Nomination Policy for more than 3 months, since 1st of July. Initially, they announced that probably they will open at the end of July, but we didn't see the new updates. And then they announced that probably they will announce at the end of September. And again, we waited. And finally, on 22nd of October, they finally announced the new migration policy for state nomination for financial year 2021 to 2022. Okay, let's have a look at today's agenda. So if you are currently studying in Australia, or you are planning to study in Australia, why should you choose Queensland as the study and migration destination? And some overview of the Queensland State Nomination quota for this financial year. And I will compare some major changes for last financial year and this financial year, and any new updated state nomination requirements compared to last year. and I will give you some case studies of some successful cases from us. And I will do the Q&A before I pass it to Sam to talk about Griffith Unit excellent programs and scholarships. Okay, so why should you choose Queensland as your study and migration destination? First of all, I'm really proud to live in Queensland because we have excellent COVID-19 situation management. Even we had several lockdowns, but probably just for 3 days, 7 days. Unlike probably Sydney and Melbourne, it has been locked down for months. So we have excellent COVID-19 control in Queensland here. And we have a booming economy, which I will explain it later because we are the host city. Brisbane is the host city for 2032 Olympic. So as well as once you get the permanent residence or 491 visa, you would like to settle down in Queensland. The good thing is for the housing price in Queensland is quite affordable compared to Sydney and Melbourne. So let's have a look. This is the housing price in Queensland. The average for this March is around $586,000. So you can see for New South Wales, especially in Sydney, the average has exceeded 1 million. So it's quite affordable if you settle down in Queensland and would like to purchase the property and live in Queensland. And what does it mean to us? Like Brisbane wins the host city for Olympic Games 2032. It means it will be a lot of new jobs available from now to 2032 because it's a long journey. We need a lot of construction to be done. We need a lot of engineering professionals. So this is a good signal for those who study construction or engineering, and probably for the future years, your occupation will be on the list. And let's have a look at the overview for this financial year for Queensland. So as you can see, Queensland has 1,000 quotas for visa surplus 190, which is the permanent resident visa. And we have 1,250 quotas for visa surplus 491. So some of you may be confused. What's the difference between 190 visa and 491 visa? So for 190 visa, as I mentioned, it is a permanent resident visa. And 491 is a temporary regional provisional visa, which will give you the pathway to obtain permanent visas. After the grant of your 491 visa, it is 3 years from the grant date if you continue to live and work in regional cities. And the permanent option will be visa surplus 191. Yes. And there are some major changes compared to previous years. So for last year, Queensland graduate stream has the same requirement as the skilled worker stream. But for this year, the Queensland graduate stream has been back, but it has a lot of restrictions and high requirements for this stream. I will tell you more details later. For Queensland PhD graduates, I'm not sure if there will be any PhD graduates here today attend our seminar. If yes, please type 1 in the chat box. And congratulations, there will be a much easier compared to other stream for PhD graduate in Queensland. I will tell you how simple it will be for PhD graduates in Queensland. And for 190 and 491 skilled worker stream, they impose compulsory proficient level English requirements, which is IELTS 7 or PT 65 in each band. And they have restricted the popular occupations. They have specified quotas for those popular occupations. But the good thing is, for this year, they don't limit the occupation. For last year, they only invited those occupations that are critical to combat the COVID situation and for the economic growth in Queensland. But for this year, as long as your occupation is listed on MLTSSL and STSOL, you will be eligible to apply for the Queensland State nomination, which is the good news for those students whose nominated occupation is not on the PMSOL. Yes. And for the small business owner stream, which is quite popular this year. They have added one more option. If you have been doing a startup business for the past 2 years, you will be eligible to apply for the small business owner stream as well. So to summarize, there were totally 4 different streams this year for Queensland State nomination. The first one is Queensland Graduate Stream, and under the Queensland Graduate Stream, they specify into 2 different. One is for PhD graduate, the other one is for Bachelor and Master graduate. The second stream is for skilled worker stream, who is currently working and living in Queensland. The third one is skilled worker offshore stream, but this stream is currently closed. They will reveal it in December this year. The last one is small business owner stream. Okay, so if you would like to apply for 190 visa, you have 2 options. First one is the skilled worker stream, currently working in Queensland. And the other option is for PhD graduates. If you don't mind living and working in regional Queensland, then you can consider for the 491 visa options. If you are the skilled worker currently working in regional Queensland, or if you are the excellence Bachelor or Master graduates, or if you are operating your small business in regional Queensland. So before we step into the detailed requirement for Queensland State nomination, I would like to remind all again, before you are eligible to apply for state nomination, firstly, you need to satisfy the Department of Home Affairs requirements. So for age, you must be equal or less than 45 years old, and you need to nominate an occupation on the relevant list, which is MLT-SSL and SD-SOL. And you need to pass the full skill assessment for your nominated occupation. And you need to have at least competent English, which is IELTS 6 for each band or PT 50 for each band. And you need to achieve minimum 65 points for skill migration point test. This is the requirements from Department of Home Affairs. So sometimes our clients are confused about state nomination requirements and the Department of Home Affairs requirements. They will think I already satisfy all the state nomination requirements, but before you have a look at the state nomination requirement, you need to satisfy the Department of Home Affairs requirements. So for Queensland State nomination this year, we have additional requirements. So for skilled worker stream, currently working in Queensland, applicant must have proficient English level. I just mentioned for the major changes. So for this year, if you are seeking pathway for the skilled worker stream, then you need to achieve IELTS 7 for each band or PT 65 for each band. And for 190 visa, they require you to have at least 80 points, including 5 points for the 190. And for 491, they don't have specified points, just 65, the minimum points requirement from DHA. And for Queensland graduate stream, as long as you complete 100% of your PhD in Queensland and satisfy the DHA requirements, you will be eligible. So this is for PhD stream. That's why I said PhD graduates in Queensland are the winners for this year's state nomination requirements. But you need to be the graduate within the recent 2 years. If you already graduated for more than 2 years, we can kind of discuss with Migration Queensland Department case by case, yes. And if you would like to go through the Queensland graduate stream by obtaining a bachelor or master degree, you need to have at least GPA 6 out of 7, which means the average GPA will be 75%. And it is only applicable for 491 visa, the regional visa. You can't use the graduate stream to apply for 190 visa if you only graduated with a bachelor or master. However, if you would like to obtain 190 visa, of course, you still can go through the skilled worker stream. And you must have been working 3 months in regional Queensland, minimum 20 hours per week. So part-time is okay. And you need to provide a job offer for the next 12 months in your nominated occupation. Also, the job offer only requires part-time, which is 20 hours per week for bachelor or master graduate. All right, so if you are confused about these streams, please feel free to type in the checkbox, then I can give you more details later. So here is the summary about what you need to provide and what's the requirements. So for skill occupation list, as I mentioned, as long as your occupation is on MLT SSL or SDSOL, you will be eligible to apply for either skilled worker stream or graduate stream. So there will be no limitation about the occupation if your occupation is on the relevant list. Secondly, for working study experience, so for surplus 190, remain the same for last financial year. So you need to be working full-time for the past 6 months in Queensland, and you need to provide a job offer for full-time employment for the next 12 months. So this is the skilled worker stream for 190. And for 491, you need to provide evidence you have been working full-time in regional Queensland for at least 3 months, and you also need to provide a job offer for the next 12 months. And it is required to be a full-time employment if you would like to go for the skilled worker stream. So for the graduate stream, so you need to complete 100% of your degree at a Queensland institute, and you need to achieve minimum 3 months part-time working experience, minimum 20 hours per week, and provide a job offer for the next 12 months, which is also part-time offer is okay. So this is the main difference between skilled worker stream and graduate stream. So for skilled worker stream, it must be full-time experience and full-time job offer. But for graduate stream, it can be part-time, minimum 20 hours. All right, so for English language requirements, it will require you to have proficient level for skilled worker stream and bachelor and master graduate stream. For PhD stream, they only require you to have competent English. So again, if you are a PhD graduate in Queensland, congratulations. As long as you meet the DHA requirements and a recent graduate from Queensland, then you will be eligible to apply for the state nomination and for the 190 visa as well. So no point requirements, no points requirement for PhD graduate, only 65 is enough. But for skilled workers, they require 80 points for 190, yes. And some popular occupations, I believe some of our attendees today will probably would like to nominate these popular occupations. But for this year, they have quotas for these popular occupations. So totally there were 6 different groups. So for finance group, so if your nominated occupation is general accountant, finance manager, or management accountant, they only give 50 each. Total is 150. And this quota includes 190 visa and 491 visa. So it will be very competitive for these popular occupations. For engineers professionals, if your nominated occupation is civil engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, or engineering technologist, also 50 each. Total is 200. For IT related, if your nominated occupation is software engineer, developer programmer, ICT business and analyst, software and application programmers, also 50 each, total 200. So if your background is about IT, engineering, or accounting, you can probably contact us. Probably you can nominate another occupation that are not that popular. Let's say for ICT related, there will be some occupations like multimedia specialists, which is also IT related, but they have no limitation for the quotas. But of course, we're not sure whether Queensland, Migration Queensland will issue more invitation to other occupations or less, because Migration Queensland will base on the demand in Queensland to issue the invitation. Yes. And for quantity surveyor, I believe some of the attendees probably completed a Master of Construction Practice from Bourne University. So we have 30 quotas for this year, including 190 and 491. For nurses, it's quite surprising to see there will be some quota for registered nurse NEC and registered nurse aged care and registered nurse critical care and emergency. 50 each, total 150. But probably I can guess the reason, because for last financial year, Queensland, Migration Queensland has issued a lot of invitations to register nurse NEC, which I will also mention in case studies later. For trades-related occupations, if your nominated occupation is motor mechanic or cook, we need to be careful. Here is only applicable to cook, not including chef. So for motor mechanic or cook, they have limitation of 30 quotas for each, total is 60. So apart from these quota restrictions, they also have kind of caveats for the selected occupations. So if you are nominating general accountant or internal or external auditors or cooks and chefs, they have additional kind of employment requirements. So if your nominated occupation is accountant, they prefer to invite those who are working in the accounting firm, like the big four accounting firms, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, etc. And you must be currently a CPA member, or you're studying towards to become a CPA. So this is quite competitive if your nominated occupation is accountants. But remember, it is only applicable to management accountant and general accountant for this year. So if you can nominate as a taxation accountant, probably you will have more opportunities. And for internal and external auditors, you must be working as an auditor instead of an accountant, because there may be some confusing job duties between accountants and auditors, but make sure you're working as an auditor instead of an accountant. And for cooks and chefs, it can be takeaway shop or fast food business. So this is the limitation for popular occupations for Queensland state nomination this year. And compared to previous years, for this year, they require additional documents to prove your employment. So for previous years, they just need to show the balance of your bank statements to show you have sufficient settlement funds. If you are applying state nomination by yourself, only one person, they require you to have at least 5,000 balance in your bank statements. But for this year, they need to see the whole bank statement, the transactions, because they need to see you are really receiving salary from your company. So for this year, for the bank statement, they changed the requirements. Previously, they only need to see the balance, but for this year, they need to see the transactions, which shows your salary contributions. And previous years, they only require you to show 2 payslips, the most recent 2 payslips. But for this year, they require you to show 3 payslips in different periods, from the beginning, from the middle, and end of the most recent ones. So this is the difference for the payslips. And they also require you to provide the PAYG, pay as you go, or income statements, or ATO, the Australian Taxation Office notice of assessment after each financial year. They also need you to provide the extract of superannuation. So the superannuation extract is a little bit tricky because companies will have 3 months to prepare for the superannuation normally. So it might be some delays for the superannuation amount to be shown on your accounts. We already emailed Migration Queensland to clarify about these requirements, but we are still waiting for the response. Yes, so this is the additional document required for this year compared to previous years. So we can see they are kind of monitoring the genuine job offer and genuine working experience. So that's it for the skill-related pathway. Now I'm moving to the small business honor stream. So the good thing is the requirements for small business honor stream remain the same for as last financial year, but they also provide another pathway, which is the startup pathway, and they require additional business document to be provided if you would like to apply for the small business honor stream. All right, let's have a look at the summary. So same as the skill pathway, you can nominate any occupation on the instrument, which includes the MLT SSL and ST SOL. So this stream is more for those applicants who cannot achieve high points or who cannot get a related job offer in the nominated occupation. They can try to purchase an existing business in regional Queensland and operate the business for at least 6 months and then be eligible to apply for this stream. But of course, this one is kind of small investment. So it is kind of for those who have extra money to do investment in regional Queensland. So I won't go through all the details, but the highlight is the purchase price for the business should be at least 100K, excluding any decoration or vehicle. So the purchase price for on the contract must be more than 100K Australian dollars if you would like to go through the small business owner stream. And you at least have one employee who are Australian citizen, Australian permanent visa holder, or New Zealand citizen. But they don't need to be full-time working. You just need to employ them for part-time basis, minimum 20 hours per week. And for the startups, for the new stream, you need to show you have established the business in Queensland for at least 2 years, and you have a minimum 200,000 Australian dollars turnover for the previous 12 months before you submit the application, and your business must be making profits. So they didn't mention or specify how many profit you need to make, but you must be showing you are earning something. Yes, so this is the summary for small business owner stream. And this is the additional document required if you would like to apply for the small business owner stream. So they require you to provide a statutory declaration, stat deck, outlining the working hours per week for yourself, because as the small business owner, you need to work full-time, minimum 35 hours per week, which also restricts some applicants, which means you need to be holding a full-time working visa to go through this pathway. So if you are currently holding 500 student visa, sorry, you are not eligible. So you must be holding some full-time working visa, let's say 485 graduate visa to operate the small business. And they also require you to provide a company statement about the future plans, how you would like to develop or expand your business in the future. So these two are the new documents required for the small business owner stream. So now move on to some successful cases. So since they just opened on 26th of October, we submitted a lot of EOI on 26th of October on the same night. So me and our migration agent colleagues, we stay in the office till very late, and we submitted a lot of EOIs on the day. And luckily, we received one invitation immediately after 12 hours. So we received one successful invitation for the occupation field physiotherapies for the 491 skilled worker stream. So we received the invitation in the morning, 10 a.m., 27th of October, only 12 hours after we submitted the invitation, the EOI, the expression of interest. So here is the point summary. So this applicant has 30 points for age, 15 points for qualification. This applicant studied in Gold Coast for 2 years, so she can achieve 5 extra points for regional studies. So it is very important for the for 5 points, 10 points, 15 points. So any points will be very valuable. So when Sam talked about Griffith University, probably you can consider studying at the Gold Coast campus because you can achieve additional points and additional 485 visa. So this applicant is single and achieved PT 79, which is superior English level, and have 1 year related working experience. And for 491 visa, it is automatically add up for 15 points. Total points is 105. That's why this applicant received invitation so quickly, because she has high points and the occupation is quite good for physiotherapists. So this is the first invitation we received since they opened. But I also would like to share with you some of our successful cases for last financial year. So this is the social worker with 80 points for this March, which is last financial year. So you can see the points structure here. I won't go through very detailedly, but I will just give you some snapshots of our successful cases for the last financial year. If you don't have 1 year working experience, then you can use, let's say, 2 years regional studies to make up the points. This one is registered nurse NEC, also received the invitation in March this year. Next one is welfare worker. So welfare worker or community worker is kind of tricky. So if you completed a bachelor or master in social work, but you can't find a job in social worker, it's quite difficult to find the exact job title as social worker, I understand. So probably you can try to find some job in welfare or community office, then you can do another skill assessment as the community worker or welfare worker, then use this occupation to apply for 190 or 491. Residence medical officer. This applicant is working in Logan Public Hospital. So we received this invitation quite early last year since they opened. So we received the invitation in October last year. Software engineer, 90 points. We also received the nomination in October last year. Registered nurse, aged care. This is for 190 as well. So as I mentioned, why they have some quota for registered nurse this year, because I believe they kind of issue a lot of invitation to registered nurse NEC, registered nurse aged care for last year. That's why they kind of control the number for registered nurse NEC, aged care, critical care, and emergency for this year. Early childhood teacher, if you are studying a Bachelor of Education, majoring in early childhood teaching or Master of Teaching for early childhood education, I guess it will be quite popular for this year. So probably you will be highly competitive to receive an invitation for this year. I can see some shortage for teachers in Queensland for these 2 years. Engineering professionals. So this one, this applicant completed a PhD at one of the Queensland University. So he received the invitation for last year. Also registered nurse for 190. So as I mentioned, a lot of registered nurse last year. Another registered nurse for 491. Another registered nurse again for 491. So this is all the skill-related cases that I picked up from last year and this year. And next one is about the small business owner stream. So sometimes you may be confused whether I need to operate a business that related to my degree. The answer is no. There will be no limitation about any business you operate, whether they are related to your background or not. But of course, they have some limitation about the business types. Let's say you can't be a Uber or you can't be a courier driver. So this is some limitation for small business owner stream, but it can be totally different from your background, okay? So this applicant completed a civil engineering degree at Griffith University in Gold Coast campus. So after graduation, the applicant applied for FYZI and then purchased a Chinese restaurant in Southport. And as you can see, he only has 70 points, but still get invitation and nomination for the small business owner stream. Again, if you can't have high points for your nominated occupation, or you can't find a job for your nominated occupation, but you have some extra money to invest, then you can consider the small business owner stream. The second one is the accountant who purchased a coffee shop in, I remember is in Kumara, the Westfield Shopping Center. And the nominated occupation is accountant, because for accountant last year they didn't invite any accountants. So this applicant applied for small business owner stream. So yes, this is the case studies sharing, and I would like to give you some tips if you are would like to get invitation for Migration Queensland. So again and again, skill assessment is very important because this is the basic requirement from the Department of Home Affairs. So if you haven't done your skill assessment yet, please do so as soon as possible. And if you didn't study anything related to migration or you can't pass the skill assessment, you can consider studying something related to IT, engineering, nursing, midwifery, teaching, cookery, and etc. So probably Sam later on will talk about these popular courses over at Griffith University. But again, completing all these courses does not guarantee you will receive a successful invitation from the Migration Queensland state nomination. You still need to put a lot of efforts to achieve higher English level, try to get a job, and if you don't mind, just move to regional area to have extra points and extra 45 visa to prepare for the state nomination. And yes, this is the tips. And before I turn to the Q&A section, why you should consider sole edu and migration. So we have a large team here that speak 9 different languages. So I believe it's always easier for clients to speak in native language. And we have 5 registered migration agents here in the team. And we have more than 300 cases per year for visa applications. It includes like partner visa applications, skill related applications, student visa, 45 visa, and we can offer a free eligibility check for the initial counseling. So yes, so I would like to take any question from the checkbox.
So thank you, Ting. I'm pretty sure we got like plenty questions in the chat box. So the first one is from Diana, and
Yes.
it's about the 190 visa. Is sole trader work valid as a massage therapist or
Commentary health therapist valid as we actually just sent an email to Migration Queensland today regarding, but sole trader work valid as a massage therapist. If you have registered for an ABN and you can ask your accountant to provide a statement from an accountant perspective, I think we can try for the 190 visa. If you mean if sole trader can be full-time work, claiming full-time work, is I'm not sure if what you would like to ask. Yes.
And also the EOI, does a Bachelor of Health Science fall in the category of bachelor degree in science, business, or technology?
For this question, I believe health science does not fall into this category. You can choose, when you fill out the EOI, you can choose other, bachelor others, yes.
And the following question is from Jay. Can 1-year diploma considered for 491 skilled work visa in Queensland?
I'm not sure what you mean by 1-year diploma. If you would like to apply for the 491 skilled worker stream, then you need to have at least three months full-time working experience in regional Queensland, plus 1 year job offer for your nominated occupation, which is also required to be full-time. And if you're talking about the Queensland graduate stream, unfortunately, diploma is not considered as one of the qualifying qualification. It must be a bachelor or master for the graduate stream. Yes.
And also the following question, is there a date when the invitations would be sent, or is it a random date?
It will be a random day, I would say. So as we can see from our case, so we submitted the EOI on 26th and we received the invitation on the next date. So it's unlike some states and territories, let's say for ACT or Victoria, they will have like the monthly invitation round. But for Queensland, so far, they didn't announce any kind of invitation rounds. So I would say based on previous year's experience, they would just issue invitation randomly. What I
And
knew is to get 491 as a chef, needed 3 years experience before. Is it changed, and can I apply for TSS direct entry during 491? For last year, they require chef to have at least 3 years working experience, but this year they don't have any requirements. They don't have any specific working experience required for cook or chef. So the good thing is, if you don't have 3 years working experience, you can still apply for 491 or 190 as long as you meet all other requirements. And can I apply for TSS direct entry during 491? So for this question, it's a little bit tricky. If you're holding 491 visa and you would like to apply for 186 direct entry, you must be holding 491 visa for at least 3 years before you can apply for 186. So this is quite tricky, and I believe not many people know this one, because this is the kind of listed on the immigration regulation. If you're holding 491 or 494, if you would like to apply for 186, then you need to at least be holding the visa for at least 3 years. Can 1 year diploma with 3 years experience full-time consider for 491 skilled workers visa stream? So if you have been, if your working experience is in regional Queensland and you can get a job offer for the next 12 months and you are holding a full-time working visa, then I would say, yes, you will be eligible, but it doesn't matter to your diploma. Yes. If I submit my EOI onshore and my current visa expires before getting an invitation, can I get an invitation while being offshore? So as I mentioned during the first few slides, so for this year, they will consider opening for offshore stream by December 2021, but they will review the policy for invitation to offshore applicant, but it has not been confirmed yet. We have applied for EOI in recent opening for 190 through So Adu. We have skill assessment as health promotion officer and 70 points with state. My wife is working on PTE. If she gets AH in a couple of weeks and we achieve 80 points, how much % chance for invitation? Also, she will finish 3 years experience in December. So if the nominated occupation is health promotion officer, and your wife can have PTE 79H, then I would say it will be high chance. And once your wife achieve at least 80 points, please let us know. Then we will update your EOI, and then we can probably drop an email to Migration Queensland Department to let them have a look at the your wife EOI. Yes. Can they purchase a cleaning business? Yes, they can purchase a cleaning business. Cleaning business is not restricted at this stage. Full-time as a sole trader counts. Yes, I think I answered Diana's question. If you can ask your accountant to provide a statement of the profits and the taxation, then I think it can be counted, but you must be holding a full-time working visa. Does architect occupation listed in 190? Yes. So any occupation on MLT SSL or SD SOL will be considered for this year. Yeah. So I think I answered pretty many questions, but I believe some of you may still have questions. So you can just type in the chat box, then I can answer your question in the chat box as well. So probably before I end my presentation, I just want to show why I choose So Edu and migration again, if you would like to apply for a school. So I just talked about the migration advantage for us. And actually, we are the Griffith University Go agent for many years. And that's why we have Sam here today to talk about Griffith University programs and scholarship availabilities. So if you would like to study at Griffith University, of course, you can contact any of our education counselor today to discuss your study plan.
So now we're gonna move on to the next session. And Samantha, are you there?
I'm here.
We welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for having me. So let me share my screen. And as Tin said, I am going to take you guys through just quickly a little bit about our university and highlight some of those programs that will be on the, sorry, I'm sharing this wrong, on the occupational skilled list, or one of the lists that Tin was referring to. So hopefully that should be all good for you guys. So yeah, my name's Samantha Milton and I am the Regional Marketing Manager at Griffith University. And I look after all the onshore students. So anyone that's an international student or on a visa here in Australia, I actually help manage them on pathways into the university. And obviously going on to further education is always a good step to specific, migration opportunities, or it could also benefit you when it comes to applying for further visas and then obviously PR and things like that. So a little bit about me, I studied at Griffith University. I did a Bachelor of International Business and a Bachelor of Commerce a few years ago now on the Gold Coast campus, but I now work at the Nathan campus. So I have a pretty good understanding of the different types of campuses that we offer at Griffith. So a little bit about us, if you guys didn't already know. We are a fairly big university. In fact, we are one of the biggest universities in Australia. So, can I extend the screen a bit bigger? Have I got it on the wrong slide? Hold on, I'll do that now. Yeah, sorry. There we go. I had it on the wrong one. So yeah, we are one of the biggest universities in Australia. We have over 50,000 students and around about 4,000 staff members. We go across 6 campuses and we are a very diverse university. So we have over 130 nationalities. And in fact, we actually have the highest amount of, African students here in Queensland. We have the largest amount of Swedish students, the largest amount of Canadian students. So we are a very diverse university. So it's not just sort of one type of nationality. So moving on. I will not go into all of our degrees, but I'm going to mention a couple of them that might help with the topic today. So a little bit about Griffith. We are a fairly young university. We're not traditional in the way that some of the universities are. We've actually only been around for about 45 years. So we're still under 50 years old, and we're really, really proud of the fact that we have achieved so much and we are doing so well in the world rankings. A lot of our subjects are really ranked very highly. And we like to think of our university as a future-focused university. So really our biggest ethos and DNA here is around sustainability and around equity. So you'll see that with everything within the university. We build a lot of our buildings off the grid. Sustainability is a big focus in a lot of our programs. We also really focus on employability. So again, we're not traditional in the sense that you come here and you'll study just theory. There's a lot of work integrated learning into our programs. There's a lot of project-based learning that we have as well. And majority of our lecturers are actually industry experts. So they're people that are still working in the industry, and they design the program so that they can support students to be job ready when they graduate. As I mentioned before, we're still under 50 years old, and we're really proud of the fact that we are on the top 50 universities under 50 years old in the world. We also have won more teaching awards than any university in Australia in the last 5 years. And as I mentioned before, we have over 200 degrees. So just a couple of our highly ranked programs. We are #1 in Australia for nursing. We're also #1 in Australia for hospitality and leisure management, and #1 in Australia for law and criminology. But we also rank really highly in things like marine and ocean engineering. We're #2 in Australia, dentistry, education, computer science, water resources and energy science, geography. And in fact, if you took all of our high ranking subject areas and ranked us against all the universities in Australia, it actually sits us at 9th in Australia, which again, considering the fact that we are a lot younger than some of the other universities, that's a really, really amazing feat for a university that's only been around for maybe half the time that some of these other universities have. So for everyone that's wondering where Griffith is, we have 6 campuses. We're based in Queensland and we go across both Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So a lot of options for people. Obviously, Brisbane is the 3rd largest city in Australia and a beautiful place to be. It has a perfect combination of being a smaller city, so less traffic than places like Sydney and Melbourne. And also both Gold Coast and Brisbane are a lot more affordable than Sydney and Melbourne. You're looking at rent is about 40% cheaper. We have half price off all of our public transport, and we're the only state to do so. And Gold Coast and Brisbane are actually ranked the most affordable student cities in Australia. So you've got all of those benefits, but also Brisbane's still a fairly big city, and we benefit from having, you know, big international companies that are based here. We have, you know, lots of different restaurants and festivals and the Olympics and just so many different things happening. So I think it's a really vibrant and exciting city, but not too big that it's overwhelming. The Gold Coast is obviously also another beautiful city. It is the 6th largest city in Australia with about 500,000 or 600,000 population. And little fact that more people on the Gold Coast live on the water than in Venice. So, you know, the Gold Coast is a really nice area to live in. It's got lots of beaches. And again, it's quite an affordable place to live. So our campuses go across both Gold Coast and Brisbane. We have Nathan, which has around 12,000 students. And this is just outside of the Brisbane CBD. So I live in the city and it takes me about 10 minutes to drive here every day. But if you're getting the bus, it's probably about 15 or 20 minutes, depending on what bus you get. We have a range of different programs at Nathan, from our law, business, engineering, IT. We have a range of health programs here, but also some really unique things like aviation and forensic science. Our Migrate campus is right next to our Nathan campus, and this has things like criminology, education, and psychology. Our South Bank campus is pretty much in the CBD, and it has things like film, music, musical theatre, design, animation, games design. Logan's a very small satellite city, and it has a few of our IT and nursing and business programs. But really, I guess our most popular campus is our Gold Coast campus. It's by far our largest campus, and it has around 20,000 students. We do a range of programs here. We have our business, we have law, IT, engineering, we have psychology, we have arts programs, languages, construction management and architecture, and the largest department, largest range of health programs out of any university in Australia. So, you know, we have medicine, dentistry, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, nutrition, dietetics, psychology, social work, counselling, the list goes on. We have a large range of health programs. And as you can see on our Gold Coast campus, we are actually right next to the Gold Coast University Hospital. Sorry. So a little bit about also Gold Coast as an area. The Gold Coast is a regional status. So that means that you will benefit from that 1 year post-study work rights in Australia, allowing students to have a total of 3 years if they study on the Gold Coast. And the other thing I quickly wanted to mention as well is I did a bit of research around industry growth. I know that there's sometimes concern that if you study in a regional area that you might not have the same benefits when it comes to industry growth, but this is actually taken off our government website. And this shows the industry growth, in particular in the growing industries like health, for the next 5 years. Keeping in mind this was before COVID, but it does show that other than Melbourne, the Gold Coast is actually going to see the largest growth in Australia, above Sydney, even above Brisbane. So keep that in mind that, you know, even though you are going to study in a regional area, that doesn't mean that there's no opportunity for further jobs. So just a little bit also about our scholarships. If you're interested, we have 3 main scholarships, 20%, 25%, and 50%. Our 20 and 25% scholarships are awarded at time of offer and will be based on an academic entry. So the equivalent of around about a 5 out of 7 GPA for the merit and a 5.5 out of 7 for the excellence. We actually have a really cool PDF that you can find on our website, or speak to any of the guys at Sol, but you can actually go through your current qualifications, find what country you did those qualifications in, and it will give you a rough estimate of exactly what GPA or what grading scale you're going to need in order to receive a scholarship. So you can have a look at that. If you meet that requirement, you will be eligible for a scholarship. If anyone is studying a diploma here in Australia that is pass-fail, you'll also be eligible for the 20% merit scholarship. And we also have a 50% remarkable scholarship. So if you're wanting to look into that, that will be a separate application that you can make on our website. Now, just quickly, I won't go into all the amazing services that we offer, but if you are looking for further employment, I would definitely recommend talking to our careers and employment service. We have a whole team there that is designed to help students find paid work in industry, internships, work integrated learning, placements. They can help you become job ready by helping you with things like your CV or cover letters. They help students with LinkedIn and e-portfolios. And as I mentioned before, paid work, they'll find that's not even related to your degree if you're wanting to find something for a few hours a week. They have industry mentoring programs, everything you could possibly need. And I would definitely recommend, if you're wanting to stay in Australia and you're wanting to get further employment after leaving, please go see these guys from the very first day you're on campus, because they're going to be able to set you up nicely and make sure that you are as employable as you can be when you graduate from your programs. As I mentioned before, we have an industry placement as well. So a whole group of people whose dedicated job is to find you internships or work integrated learning. We also have a lot of work integrated learning on campus. So we have our own app factory for, say, our Bachelor of IT. We have our own design factory for our design students. We have our own photography studio. So this allows our students on campus to actually work with a real life company and service clients as a part of their degree. Clinical placements, all of our health programs, we have clinical placement officers who can sit and actually help you with your placement and make sure that it is somewhere that you can get to easily, or it's in alignment with what you're wanting to specialize in and things like that. So all of our placements have support there as well. So quickly, what I thought I would do is just touch on some of our programs that Tin mentioned may get you further benefits when it comes to some of the skilled shortages or the lists. So I've just listed a couple here. We've got the Bachelor of Nursing. As I mentioned, we are #1 in Australia for this program. It is an extremely popular program. Runs for 3 years across Gold Coast, Logan, and Nathan, and it does require an IELTS of 7. So if students are unable to get IELTS of 7, that's really what you need to get. But we do have a pathway through the Diploma of Healthcare at Griffith College, which may allow you to delay your English test for a little bit and come through and do the diploma. We have a Bachelor of Social Work, which is 4 years, and that is also at our Logan and Gold Coast campus. It has now risen to an IELTS of 7 as well. And this one's an accredited program for students. If you have an undergraduate program that has 1 year in a social sciencey background, you may be eligible for our Masters of Social Work, which is 2 years across Gold Coast and Logan, also accredited. And we have intakes in trimester 2 and 3 for this program. In the IT space, we have a Bachelor of IT, which looks at things like information systems, networks and security, software development. Or if you're interested in another area, there's actually no major options. So you can just pick electives and design your own kind of undergraduate program with the range of different electives that we offer. And we also do offer things that kind of align with IT as well. So we have Bachelor of Engineering, Software Engineering. We have Computer Science, which is more on the programming side. We also have Intelligent Digital Technologies, which looks at things like the Internet of Things and robotics, voice activation, augmented reality, all of those sort of things as well. We have our Masters of IT, which is 1.5 to 2 years. The cool thing about this is if you have no background in IT, you can actually come through and do our Masters of IT for 2 years. And it has a range of different majors as well, things like data analytics, enterprise architecture, information systems, business analysis, networks and security, software development and support. So a range of different things. We also have a Masters of Cybersecurity, again, kind of these adjacent degrees that you might be able to sort of find similar job outcomes with. We have our Bachelor of Engineering, which is available at Gold Coast and Brisbane, and it's a 4-year program and offers a range of different majors from civil, electronic, environmental, mechanical. And then from there, you can specialize even further into engineering, UAV, mechatronics, and software. If you're wanting to become a registered engineering professional and you have a background in maybe engineering from another country or a background in science and maths, you might be eligible to do our 2-year Masters of Professional Engineering, and that will allow you to become an accredited engineer in Australia, and that is for civil engineering, electronic engineering, environmental engineering, and mechanical engineering. We also, I just threw this in there because I heard Tin mention it before. We do a Bachelor of Construction Management for 4 years on the Gold Coast, which is also an accredited program for students to look into. In the education space, we offer a Bachelor of Education for 3.5 years, and we are number 4 in Australia for this program. So from this, you would then either specialize in primary or secondary education or special needs education. If you're wanting to do early childhood, that comes under our primary education, and it will be 3.5 years. Like our other degrees, if you have a background in something other than teaching and you're wanting to become a teacher, we do offer a Masters of Teaching. It's 1.5 to 2 years, and it is available across Brisbane and Gold Coast, and we offer that in secondary or primary teaching as well. So that's another great option if you're wanting to use your undergraduate program and teach something that you're passionate about. And also there was a mention of a few things like accounting, some management roles, or potentially even hospitality and tourism. These would either fall under our Bachelor of Business or our Bachelor of International Hotel Management and Tourism. So our Bachelor of Business is actually really, really flexible in the fact that it offers over 20 different majors. It's available across Gold Coast and Brisbane, and you can start it in trimester 1, 2, or 3. So lots and lots of options. With our Bachelor of Business, this is where you would find accounting, commerce, economics. You've also got things like sport management and tourism, marketing, and a range of different languages as well. For those, again, who are looking for a master's option, we have our 2-year Masters of Business. Now, we do have a range of other business masters, but this one is probably the best one because doing that 2-year program actually will then allow you to apply for post-study work rights. So that's why we've structured it to be a 2-year program for our students. And again, this has a range of different majors for students to choose between, and you can get into this program with any bachelor's degree as your undergraduate program. So there's just a few of our degrees. As I mentioned, we have over 200. And I know when Tin was going through the case studies, there's a lot of students that came through health pathways. And as I mentioned, that is really, really a strength here at the university. So if you are looking at studying any of these programs, or you're wanting to come study on the Gold Coast, please go see the guys at Seoul. They know all of Griffith's programs and all our entry requirements, and they will be able to help you submit an application for us. And that's it for me at the moment, unless there was any questions. I saw some going in the chat. What's happening here? Yeah. Okay.
So now is our Q&A session. Is there any questions regarding the programs Samantha just mentioned, or any scholarship information you would like to know? Please let us know and put your question in the chat box.
I have seen something about,
I think it's Master of Physio, Griffith.
We used to offer that. We don't offer a Master of Physio anymore. So there's only the Bachelor of Physio. We have a Masters of Speech Pathology. We have Masters of Social Work, Health Service Management, but they're the only things in our health area now. Majority of them will be at a undergraduate level.
There is one question from, let me see. I am mechanical engineer, and he is from India and looking to apply for an advanced project management postgraduate program at Griffith in Gold Coast campus. And he has secured 65% in his graduation mechanical engineering course in India. What all scholarship he might be eligible to receive from Griffith?
Yeah. So I'm going to send through that PDF that I just mentioned, and it will actually outline hopefully most of the entry requirements from other countries. So it will say, for example, if your score is out of 10 in an Indian institution, you will need a 7.5 or whatever it is. It's normally around that 70%. So I'm sending that through to you now. What I would recommend is, if you are a little bit unsure or you can't seem to find something within that PDF, just make an application and let our admissions team assess it. So they'll assess it. All the application should be free through Seoul to actually get your application assessed with Griffith, and then we'll be able to provide you with an offer which will have or not have the scholarship. So then with that information, you can hopefully decide if you want to progress on to accepting your offer. There was someone that was said that they're from,
I think it's from Vietnam, James Bond. James Bond.
Yeah.
So he is asking it for a Bachelor of Dental Technology, Dental Prosthetics, and he has completed year 12 with an average of 9.2 out of 10 in 4 academic subjects. And could you please confirm which subjects are they? There is a link.
Yeah. Yeah, it just says here, 9.2 out of 10 in 4 academic subjects. So I'm assuming they would be the 4 registered academic subjects in Vietnam. If you're not sure, either one, ask the guys at Seoul, because they might already have had emailed our admissions team. Otherwise, what we can do is, again, make an application and they'll let you know. Otherwise, you need to email the admissions team, because there was probably a secondary level to this entry requirement that they have listed somewhere. Right. But not, when it says 4 academic subjects, I'd assume that, if you would know there's maybe potential academic subjects and more practical subjects in your year 12. So this might outline that the 4 subjects must be academic based.
So Jen, I would just send you a message privately, and I would like to probably get contact with you and pass your contact information to our Vietnam team, and we can figure out how to calculate your academic score.
Yes. So we don't have a Bachelor of Early Education. We only have a Bachelor of Education now. So it gets a little bit more tricky. So I'm just answering Leon's answer. Do you accept credit transfer for the Bachelor of Education Early Childhood from the Diploma of Early Childhood Education at TAFE? So a couple of things. Yes, we offer quite a lot of credit for different programs. Education is a slightly tricky one because it is very, very practical. So sometimes it won't have that much credit. I will quickly have a look and see. I'm going to also link you guys. We have a credit calculator, so you can see all the credit that is already done with TAFE. And yes, normally if there is credit associated with TAFE, we can do a package COE for you. But yeah, the problem is we don't offer Bachelor of Early Childhood anymore. It's just education, which has kind of made it a little bit more tricky when it comes to giving credit because they are slightly different programs. So let me just have a quick look. So we offer credit from the Diploma of Early Childhood Education into the Bachelor of Human Services, but not into education. Yeah, but if you do go through TAFE and there is credit associated, we will package those offers. There was another question here. I was a bit confused about the USA. It said that I'm currently staying in USA. I want to move to Australia as my fiance is from Brisbane. Applications open for my case.
I think the
yeah.
question is related to migration. And
Okay, cool.
for Santosh, I think I received your email, so I will reply to your email later. And I think we also have one question about the English requirements for masters in social work and counseling in terms of TOEFL.
Yeah.
TOEFL IBT for
I
masters.
don't think you can. Let me just triple check. I'm pretty sure our Masters of Social Work counseling will be different, but I believe that's only IELTS. So on all of our websites, it will tell you all the language requirements. So if it doesn't list it there, it's normally not accepted. Unless it's something that is a 6.5, which we can accept alternative entry like diplomas, or we also have Duolingo now as an flexible study option. But when something is an IELTS of 7 or 7.5 or 8, that's often there because there is practical placement in the program or registration associated with that English level. So the Masters of Social Work has to be IELTS. Otherwise, you can go through our direct pathway through GELI and our counseling program. Which counseling program are we talking about? So our Bachelors of Counseling. You can use a TOEFL, or our Masters of Rehab Counseling. Our Masters of Rehab Counseling is also TOEFL. So yeah, it would just be the social work that you will need to provide a IELTS. Do accept a credit transfer for Masters of Business from a Bachelor. You can always apply to see if you could get credit from a Bachelor to a Master, but as they're different levels, most of the time you won't. It depends on how similar the programs are, and if there's electives, there might be flexibility there in business as well. So I would have a look into that. But if it's an MBA, that's normally a slightly higher level as well. So what you can always do, talk to the guys at Seoul, put in an application with Griffith, and if it's not already on that credit calculator that I just sent to everyone. Oh, sorry, I'm just realized I've been sending directly to people, not everyone. Thank you, Tin. If it's not on that calculator that Tin sent, then you will be able to make an application and we can tell you how much credit you can get. So yes, we do offer Duolingo as a flexible study option, only for our IELTS 6.5 level programs. So let me just get the entry requirement up. And Tin, are you able to answer the second part of that question from a point of immigration and visa?
Yes. So I think Eugenie is asking about if in some cases the school combination with some nationalities is compulsory to provide the IELTS or TOEFL or PT results for the visa application. Then Duolingo is not currently accepted by the Department of Home Affairs. So students must still provide the IELTS academic version or the TOEFL IBT for the student visa purpose. Yes.
Okay, so I just linked you where that is on our website, but at the moment, as a part of COVID and trying to allow some flexibility for students that are unable to take English tests, a score of 110 in Duolingo will allow people to get into our 6.5 IELTS equivalent programs. Yeah. Also, keeping in mind, if you have a previous qualification, so say, for example, a diploma here in Australia, that will also satisfy your English requirement. If you have ever studied something in Australia and then you sit another English test and that's worse, we always have to go off your most recent thing. So if you already have a diploma or something, I wouldn't sit another test because you could use that. Yeah. But yeah, we are very excited. I'm assuming majority of the people who are with us today are they onshore or offshore?
Both.
Both.
Yes.
So obviously, as we mentioned at the start, Queensland is hoping to, we have a recovery plan now to welcome back international students. And the first group of students will be our medical students. But we are really hoping that sometime next year, we are able to open our borders to everyone. And here at the university, we've been so lucky because we've had pretty much no lockdowns. Our university is fully in operation. So our gyms are open, our restaurants are open, our bars are open. All of our workshops and our tutorials are back in person. Our campuses, especially our Gold Coast campus, are buzzing again. So that's really, really exciting for students that are here and wanting to come on campus and experience that uni lifestyle. For people who are offshore, we are accepting students now, and people are actually starting with us online and then coming to join us later on. We're not sure. There is no outline of who's coming and what order people will be allowed to come into the country, but we do think that continuing students will have a better chance or be made a priority over new students. So if you are wanting to start online, you know, that doesn't mean that you will have to be waiting to come here. You might actually be made a priority if you've been studying with us for 1 or 2 trimesters online. Yeah, but we don't know. We're not the government. I'm very sorry.
And for those attendees who probably would like to study in Griffith, I think trimester 3 this year is still open for application, right, Sam?
Trimester 3 starts next Monday.
Yes.
So if you are onshore and wanting to commence a couple of our programs that allow late starts, that might be possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
but definitely open for next year. So if any attendee would like to study in Australia for 2022, just contact one of our education consultants. Then we can submit your application to Griffith University.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think we don't have any more questions, but if any attendee have any further question, just contact us. And if we can't answer the question, of course, we will bother Sam to get the correct answer and get back to our students.
No bother at all. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, sure.
And anyone who's here in Australia as well, if you want to come have a look at the campus or talk to academics, anything like that, we're more than happy to help.
Right. So thank you, Sam, and also thank you, Ting. I believe our webinar is successful, and yeah, we're gonna end this last session. And if you have any further question, please contact us. And if you would like to talk one by one, and let us know. If we have further information, please follow our all social media channels. We will post it another webinar very shortly if the regulations changed. So you guys have a good afternoon and good evening, and see you next time then. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, so before we end this section, and actually this is the last seminar that we held for the online migration marathon seminar. So from next Wednesday night, I will be holding a live YouTube seminar to talk about different topics about migration updates or different visa supplies. So stay tuned and have a look at our YouTube channel, So Edu and Migration. Then I will do the live seminar every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. Brisbane time. So probably we will see you there on our YouTube channel.
Thank you
all.
Thank you. See you guys.
See ya.
See ya. Thank you.